On this week's Sunday morning rant, I made a comment about, well, I made several comments actually, about the MX-1. Okay, so this is my MX-1. And specifically, I made some comments around these 4 USB ports at the back of the MS1 and the fact that port 3 was powered, and because port 3 was powered, you could power a device off port 3. However, I said it was one device only, because that's what the specifications for this thing say. And I also said it was aimed at System 1, the TB3, the TR8, etc. Anyway, somebody left a comment on the channel, and I'm always up for comments. I'm always up for negative comments. I'm always up for positive comments. Just make them constructive. I don't have a problem with you giving me negative comments if it's constructive. Anyway, left a comment on the channel saying that he was powering a JX03, a SH101, sorry, an SH01 I think it is, isn't it, in the boutique range, a TR09, and he did say there was a fourth one, and I can't for the life of me remember what the fourth one was now. But he was powering these 4 devices off the MX-1. So that got me thinking, have I got it wrong? So what I then did was I then did a bit of research, and what I found out was that pretty much all the boutique range of equipment have the same current draw rating. So whether that's right or wrong, I'm not sure, but the Roland rate every one of the boutique range of equipment as 500 milliamps at 5 volts. And I suspect that's because the ABC, is it ABC, analog behavior circuitry, that sits within these things is pretty much the same circuitry for every one of the boutiques, just with a different modeling profile put on for the different synthesizers. So because it's the same circuitry, they probably all are rated at or around 500 milliamps. So then I went and did some research on the MX-1. Now, there is nowhere that Roland publish what power is actually on the powered port of port 3. Can't find it anywhere. However, what you can find is what the current draw is on an MX-1. Now, an MX-1, according to Roland, will draw 1.7 amps or 1700 milliamps. So then I went and crawled underneath the keyboard stand in the studio where the MX-1 is mounted, and I found the power supply, and then I took a magnifying glass out because it's written in very, very small writing, and on the power supply for the MX-1 that is supplied with the MX-1, it says that it will supply 2 amps or 2000 milliamps at 5.7 volts, which I thought was rather interesting, but there's a slightly higher voltage on the supply, but it's 2000 amps. Sorry, 2000 milliamps, not 2000 amps. That will definitely sort of fry you. So 2000 milliamps, 2 amps, is what this thing will give out. So, doing some simple maths, in theory, this cannot power one of these. Let's do some experiments. Okay, for the purposes of this demonstration, although you can see the white wire here, what I've done is to port 3 here, I have connected my JX03. Now, just so you can see I'm not cheating, go to the back side of my JX3P, and as you can see there are no batteries in this one. So, in theory, this shouldn't power up. So, it's all connected up. The JX3 is running, but it's not producing any sound through the speakers. However, this does play the arpeggiator, and it is behaving to the time signature on the MX-1. It's just not playing the sound back through the MX-1. or through the speakers. There's no sound on any of these USB ports, which is very interesting. Let's try it, see if we can play it from a keyboard. And the sound is coming out of the JX3, not out of the speakers. Okay, for the purpose of experiment number 2, I've now connected another wire from a hub, and I've put a hub between the MX-1 and my 2 devices. Now, do they both power up? The D05 says yes. However, as soon as I try to power up the JX03, the D05 stops working, which means I have probably exhausted the power on the bus. Turn the JX03 off and then repower up the D05. Again, it works. So I'm not sure whether I've read the comment wrong, but in this configuration, powering 2 boutiques off the MX-1, I am seeing a scenario where the MX-1 cannot power both of these devices, which sort of reads in with our equation here. I'm quite impressed it's powering the first device, or powers one of the devices, given the fact that it's only should be powering 300 milliamps and these are a 500 milliamp rating. But it doesn't seem to be powering both devices at the same time without some sort of external power supply on this bus. Okay, let's see if the start stop does anything on here. No, the start stop doesn't seem to have any effect on the D05. Interesting. Let's see if we can get MIDI out of the speakers. No, we have power to the internal speaker but not the external speakers. Let's try MIDI through a keyboard. So once again, we don't have any sound coming out the speakers, it's coming out of the local speaker. Let's plug in the D05 in direct. That's the D05. Put it in direct, like so. Switch this one back on. Switch the D05 back on. Still no sound coming out of the MX-1. Okay, so we've done the experiments, and my experiments, now there is a couple of things I need to check, so I will make that clear now. First of all, I'm not sure I'm running the latest version of firmware on the MX-1, so I will need to go and check that. So there's a caveat there. And also I want to just make sure I'm running the latest version of firmware on this, which I feel I'm not, but I do know I'm running the latest version of firmware on this. So there is another caveat there. However, what the experiment I've just performed concludes is that I can run or I can power one of these devices, one or other, from the MX-1. All well and good. What I can't get is either of these devices to play back through the MX-1. So none of them will come up through that digital USB fader. The sound for both these units was coming from the internal speaker and not from the external speakers that I have set up here. So I can't make that work. I did not try the MIDI because I haven't got the computer in here. So I haven't tried that angle of it. The MX-1 will send control signals to this. So this was being, the arpeggiator was playing on this in time to the MX-1. So there is control information being sent through, but volume or sort of sound information is not going back the other way. So that's, I can confirm that. What I can't confirm is whether you can, I can't say that you can power 4 of these from this device, from the MX-1, because from what I could see, as soon as I put a hub in the mix to allow me to work with either of these devices, one device would work, one device wouldn't work. That was it. And as I say, I can get neither of them to play back through the MX-1. So, to the individual who put the comment on the channel, can you give me some more information about how you've wired this up? So that I can test it out, and then obviously if it works I'll put it on here, because that will solve a lot of problems for a lot of people. But where we are at the moment, I can't see it actually working with the MX-1 based on the setup I've got. So this is the point in the video where I turn around to you and say, if you enjoyed the contents of this video, please give it a thumbs up. It allows other people to find this content more easily that you have enjoyed. I'm sure by now, if you didn't like the content of the video, you've probably given me a thumbs down, but I'd prefer if you didn't. If you'd like to be notified about when I post additional content to this channel, somewhere about here should be the subscription icon. So please click on there and subscribe to the channel. Over here should be other content that you may enjoy that I've already done or posted to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again.